With profound, humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy, blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 3 of 4.
Etc.
There are 211 countries and regions which have animal people protection laws. Obey the law of your country. No more animal people slaughterhouses, no more hurting, no more murdering them to eat, to lab test, or for any reason at all. Be vegan. Make peace. So be it.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
ਸਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ ਅਨੇਕ ਭਾਸ਼ਾਵਾਂ। ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੇਖੋ suprememastertv.com/schedule.
The inquirer asked, "And what may be the duty of a theosophist to himself?" The theosophist replied, "To control and conquer, through the higher, the lower self, to purify himself inwardly and morally, to fear no one and naught save the tribunal of his own conscience." Please keep watching to find out more.
We have just begun to fight! What do we want? Animal liberation! Animals do not want to die! One struggle, one fight! Yeah, freedom, animal rights!
Vegan, noble race.
While enjoying the beautiful Midsummer Festival in Latvia, greet the friendly locals with Labrit, which means good morning in Latvian.
I am Ralph.
The kind-hearted people of Latvia wish you wondrous experiences of the soul, embraced by the comforting splendor of God. Welcome to Altruism and Spiritual Development from Theosophy's Sacred Teachings in The Key to Theosophy, Part 2 of 2 on Words of Wisdom.
Make peace now. Not make women widows. Not make children cry. Make nations strong and still. Make your heart beautiful and new.
Madame Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, vegetarian, was born in 1831 into a noble family in Ukraine or Urain. As a child, young Helena displayed a gift for clairvoyance as well as an interest in metaphysical phenomena. Years later, she traveled throughout Europe, the Middle East, and India, studying with various teachers and Sufi saints. Following the guidance of an Indian yogi named Mahatma Maurya, vegetarian, Madame Blavatsky co-founded the Theosophical Society. Theosophy, meaning divine wisdom, refers to knowledge that comes through spiritual experience rather than intellectual understanding alone. The Theosophical Society is dedicated to uplifting humanity through a realization of the oneness of life and the wisdom underlying all religions. Madame Blavatsky wrote several important books on Theosophy, including Isis Unveiled, The Secret Doctrine, The Key to Theosophy, and The Voice of the Silence. The Key to Theosophy unlocks the door that leads to a deeper study of Theosophy. In contrast to other Theosophy volumes, it is written in simple explanatory language. Readers are thus able to more easily understand its fundamental principles.
Vegan, like the beings in heavens. Love you, saints.
Today, on Words of Wisdom, we invite you to join us for excerpts from The Key to Theosophy. What is practical theosophy? On self-sacrifice, the inquirer asked the theosophist, is equal justice to all and love to every creature the highest standard of theosophy? The theosophist replied, no, there is an even far higher one. The inquirer continued asking, what can it be? The theosophist expounded, the giving to others more than to oneself, self-sacrifice. Such was the standard and abounding measure which marks so preeminently the greatest teachers and masters of humanity, for example, Gautama Buddha in history, and Jesus of Nazareth as in the Gospels. This trait alone was enough to secure to them the perpetual reverence and gratitude of the generations of men that come after them. We say, however, that self-sacrifice has to be performed with discrimination, and such a self-abandonment, if made without justice or blindly, regardless of subsequent results, may often prove not only made in vain, but harmful. One of the fundamental rules of Theosophy is justice to oneself, viewed as a unit of collective humanity, not as a personal self-justice. Not more but not less than to others, unless indeed by the sacrifice of the oneself we can benefit the many. The inquirer requested, could you make your idea clearer by giving an instance? The theosophist responded, there are many instances to illustrate it in history. Self-sacrifice for practical good to save many or several people. Theosophy holds as far higher than self-abnegation for a sectarian idea, such as that of saving the heathen from damnation, for instance. In our opinion, Father Damian, the young man of 30, who offered his whole life in sacrifice for the benefit and alleviation of the sufferings of the lepers at Molokai, and who went to live for 18 years alone with them, to finally catch the loathsome disease and die, has not died in vain. He has given relief and relative happiness to thousands of miserable wretches. He has brought to them consolation, mental and physical. He threw a streak of light into the black and dreary night of an existence, the hopelessness of which is unparalleled in the records of human suffering. He was a true theosophist, and his memory will live forever in our annals. The inquirer pressed further, then you regard self-sacrifice as a duty? The theosophist answered, we do, and explain it by showing that altruism is an integral part of self-development. It is man's duty to sacrifice his own comfort and to work for others if they are unable to work for themselves. It is his duty to give all that which is wholly his own and can benefit no one but himself, if he selfishly keeps it from others. The inquirer questioned, but how are we to reach such an elevated status? The theosophist explained, by the enlightened application of our precepts to practice, by the use of our higher reason, spiritual intuition and moral sense, and by following the dictates of what we call the still small voice of our conscience. The inquirer asked, if such are our duties to humanity at large, what do you understand by our duties to our immediate surroundings? The Theosophist replied, just the same, plus those that arise from special obligations with regard to family ties. The inquirer pressed further, then it is not true as it is said, that no sooner does a man enter into the Theosophical society than he begins to be gradually severed from his wife, children, and family duties? The Theosophist expounded, it is a groundless calumny, like so many others. The first of the theosophical duties is to do one's duty by all men, and especially by those to whom one's specific responsibilities are due, because one has either voluntarily undertaken them, such as marriage ties, or because one's destiny has allied one to them. I mean those we owe to parents or next of kin.
There are 211 countries and regions which have animal people protection laws. Malta is one of them.
Malta Animal Welfare Act 2001. The Animal Welfare Act states, animals shall not be caused any unnecessary pain, suffering, or distress, and no animal shall be abandoned. Any person who keeps any animal or who agrees to look after an animal shall be responsible for its health and welfare. Those guilty of animal people cruelty or ill treatment may be fined up to €55,000 and given 3 years imprisonment. Penalties are even harsher for repeat offenders, who may pay a maximum of €80,000. Obey the law of your country. No more animal people slaughterhouses, no more hurting, no more murdering them to eat, to lab test, or for any reason at all. Be vegan, make peace. So be it.
The inquirer asked, and what may be the duty of a theosophist to himself? The theosophist replied, to control and conquer through the higher, the lower self, to purify himself inwardly and morally, to fear no one and naught, save the tribunal of his own conscience, never to do a thing by halves. In other words, if he thinks it the right thing to do, let him do it openly and boldly, and if wrong, never touch it at all. It is the duty of a theosophist to lighten his burden by thinking of the wise aphorism of Epictetus, who says, be not diverted from your duty by any idle reflection the silly world may make upon you, for the censures are not in your power, and consequently should not be any part of your concern. The inquirer asked, but suppose a member of your society should plead inability to practice altruism by other people on the ground that charity begins at home, urging that he is too busy or too poor to benefit mankind or even any of its units. What are your rules in such a case? The Theosophist explained, no man has a right to say that he can do nothing for others on any pretext whatever. By doing the proper duty in the proper place, a man may make the world his debtor. Says an English writer, a cup of cold water given in time to a thirsty wayfarer is a nobler duty and more worth than a dozen of dinners given away out of season to men who can afford to pay for them. We have no rules by which we could force any man to become a practical theosophist if he does not desire to be one. For more information, please visit Project Gutenberg or gutenberg.org.
I decided not to do any surgery because I wanted to try whether following a vegan diet could really help with my condition. Miraculously, within 5 months, without any surgery, electrotherapy or chemotherapy, my cancer was gone. It has been years now. I don't think there is any point or reason for me to go back, because during these years, I learned that being a vegan is not only beneficial for my own health, but also can help animals and protect our Earth. What a meaningful thing to do. Of course, I should continue. NGP Vegan.
O Gaza, peace is the only victory, not how many neighbors' dead bodies.
Supreme Master Ching Hai, Vegan.
Faithful viewers, we thank you for joining us today for Words of Wisdom. Coming up next is The Demise of the City, Off-Grid Living in Fast-Changing Times by Rhonda Rice, Vegan, Part 1 of 2, right after noteworthy news. In God's grace, may you be blessed with continued spiritual upliftment.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Stop Russian fascism! Stop Russian imperialism!
Russia, leave Ukraine or you reign now. Peace be with you too.